guys, I'm Gary. This is Eric. We are at my new homestead with our cedar cabin in the background, which we're going to record today. Today we're smoking the Tabak Especial Dulces, and I'm going to just give you a little spin of some of the home front action. We got a pool back there. We got an office and a gym, my wife's plant shed, and then bringing you all back to this cedar cabin. I'm going to try to walk backwards and not fall. Come on in, grab a stick. We are Cedar Culture.
Kick back and relax, it's time to shoot the shit. Hanging out with the broskies, Gary and Eric. Let the ash go long and the convo stay pure. That's Cedar Culture. That's Cedar Culture. That's Cedar Culture.
Let's bundle these leaves and burn them and suck on them.
Here we are.
Happy Thursday, buddy.
Happy house.
Dude.
We're in your smoke shack. Everybody
We're
just
in
got
the
to see
smoke shack.
a little bit of your homestead there.
Yeah.
And I'm so happy for you, man. And I gotta say, and you would probably agree, like when you. So I'll speak for like kind of my perception, but I'll use you. When you first saw this place and you had a vision for what it would be,
Right.
and you've only been here a couple weeks, it's not even close to what your vision will be.
Yeah.
But like when you had a vision, it's better now than it was in your vision, right?
It's better because it's more realistic. Like, you know, we went into the gym and, you know, I was showing you around a little bit and I couldn't even like envision taking out some of the things that were previously here and going. But now that like I'm physically doing the work, or even just like the old horse stall.
The horse fence, the electric fence that you had going around.
Yeah, like just taking that out. And even you had commented, you're like, dude, it looks completely different. I mean, I did it, and as I was doing it, I was like, I can't believe how open it looks. Mm-hmm. Like, so I have just under 4 acres. And a lot of outbuildings, which are great. Like my wife's using one as an office. It's finished on the inside. One's for a gym slash.
Well, that's the thing. Like even when I say it looks better than I imagined, you know, the gym, like you could picture it. We were in a shed. It was a little cluttered, and you were like, "This is where our gym equipment's gonna go." And it's like, yeah, I can picture that. But now that I see it, I mean, it looks like a beautiful gym. Like,
right, like it's
so much
up.
space. It's like even when I bought my house, in the living room, the den is. It's not massive. It's like a normal size, but it looked. You know, I was like, oh, it might be a little tight with some furniture in here.
Right.
Once you put furniture in it, it looks bigger sometimes, right? And that's how your gym is.
Well,
Or even a smoke shack. Here, this is a tiny little thing, but here we are, 500 pounds combined with chairs and this and that, and we're like spread out. This is great.
I was gonna say we have room for people.
Oh yeah,
you know?
I can kick.
Activities, room for activities.
Kicking. This is how I demonstrate that there's room in the room. I just kick my leg.
You can't be next to Eric when he's measuring stuff because they'll be like, "Oh, I have room to kick." So as you're lighting, you know, I forgot how excited I was going to kind of be for this because, correct me if I'm wrong, this is kind of one of those sticks that kind of were staples in our very early journey, not only singly, but collectively.
That is true, but real quick, look at this. I get to put my arm up without it blocking my face, so Blake Eric is going to be very, very happy.
There you go. Hope the shelf holds up. I did not build this shed. We'll see what happens. Actually, we're probably better off that I didn't build.
But wait, so you just said something and I cut you off. I forget.
That this was
the stick.
The Tabak Especial.
This is the stick that made me fall in love with cigars. Not even one of the sticks. This is the stick that had me fall in love with cigars.
Did I bring you this?
Mm-mm.
You
I went
ended up
to
buying one. That's what it was.
My first trip ever to a cigar shop. Where, you know, I picked up 3 or 4 cigars that he recommended / I thought looked good, and this just happened to be one of them. And I want to say, I can't remember, you know, I don't know, but then we talked about them and
I remember you
found
saying
out that
you picked up sticks, and when you sent me pictures, I was like, oh, dude,
Yeah.
that's like, it's the one that really helped my journey with
I don't
cigars.
smoke them much anymore.
No.
I will say though, it's kind of funny. So yesterday morning was a very nice morning. I think we kind of texted like, oh, this is a good
stick
morning, good stick morning. You know, it was like 50 degrees at 8 a.m. or 7 a.m. and that Christmas in the air, like that's good. And when I do have a morning stick like that, which is typically pretty rare, and especially since we're coming off of winter, I haven't had one in several months. This is my morning stick. One of them. you know, even like a Laroutan, stuff like that, like sweeter sticks. That's what I'm normally gonna grab with coffee in the morning. So in a way, I was almost disappointed we decided to smoke this today because I was like, man, like this would be cool to have like tomorrow morning or one of these upcoming mornings. But at the same time, I'm not gonna, you know, it's a good stick.
It's funny. This is my last Tabak, and part of me was like, when I messaged you, I was like, "Oh, I have one last size," and I remember I kept it. I was like, "Oh, it's a Lonsdale. I'll keep it for a special occasion." It had like a white sleeve. I got it, I think, in some trade or something. But I was like, I'm gonna have to pick up some Tabaks just because they are.
Yeah.
What I love about this stick, it's Drew Estate for those who don't know, or for early cigar smokers. I feel like this is a cigar that newer cigar smokers will love, but a seasoned cigar person, if they're not into the infused as much, it's not heavily infused.
It's sweet though.
It's sweet. I'll get you. It's sweet, but it has good long filler tobacco in it. It's got Nicaraguan Esteli. Like it's got Esteli.
It's good. It's a quality stick. I would assume, but I don't know. I think I might disagree with you there. Like I think there's a large swath of classic cigar smokers
100%.
that would like hate it, but
and I'm not.
That's not us.
Right.
We're new cigar smokers. Newer. Mm-hmm. We're young. A young, almost.
Well, right,
40.
and it's so in Drew Estate's wheelhouse, and it's just something they do so well. They do the infused well, but it's not acid infused. It's not like crazy botanicals. I'm going to take one step further.
And by acid infused, you mean it's not acid the brand?
Acid brand infused, not
it's
acid.
Also not infused with LSD,
acid, right?
but it's not acid the brand.
Yeah, those we're going to save to smoke later. This cigar actually helped turn me on to coffee more because I was not a coffee drinker.
Remember that? Yeah, and Allie, your wife, was saying she's like, you like cigars, you like coffee flavors. Cigars, like all these flavors, this that. She's like, coffee is like a liquid cigar in a way.
Because I cannot do some of the acids are just too much for me. This is that like happy medium. If I'm gonna do, I don't really do infused anymore. I will smoke a tobacco.
You know, it's funny. So I have a little acrylic humidor, those little round, like 15 count jobbers, and that's just where all my infused sticks are.
It's a great idea.
And I haven't opened it because I haven't had. I was just saying that they're like more like morning sticks. I haven't had one in a while. I opened that thing probably for the first time in a couple months, and the flavor, because I've got in there's a couple Javas, there's some Laroutans, a couple acids, and one or two other random things, a couple Deadwoods maybe.
Okay.
Not infused, whatever. Blah 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 blah. So yeah, all those flavors. I mean, dude, it smelled like a Hershey bar. I think there is a nub in there too.
Oh yeah.
Punch me in the face, but there was no Tabaks, and I was like, I thought I had more, and then I realized that there's a little overflow. So you were saying this is your last one. Funny enough, when I went to the other little Tupperware that I had the overflow in, this is my second to last, and I had the exact same thought of you. And my first thought was, oh, I need to get more because I always need these on hand. And then my second thought was, I told myself I wasn't buying any more cigars till I smoke like about 100 or so of mine.
I know.
So I'm probably gonna have to go buy a couple though. Maybe not. Just next time I wind up at a
shop,
or I don't know. Like sometimes you order online a little bit more than me. Maybe next time you're ordering, if it's like you're already paying for shipping, let me know.
I was actually gonna say, let me check. I've been really good. I've been in on some raffles, but I have not bought strict cigars in a long time.
Yeah.
I had my cigars stored at my parents' during the move because I was just worried about putting them in storage and even keeping them in a car for a long time. And my mom was like, "You have a couple.
You got a couple.
You got a couple cigars here, huh?" I was like,
"Yeah,
just a little." She's like, "Okay." She's like, "I didn't realize it turned into this."
Yeah.
Like she knew, when I started, it was like I had a 20 count humidor. Like it was not, I'm glad you brought up having the little acrylic humidor because just as a reminder, especially if you're a new cigar smoker, you really should keep your infused separate. Especially when you start to get some really good sticks. Like imagine leaving a high-end stick. And
it probably depends. Like, it's definitely accurate. I would say, if you have a decent-sized humidor and you have 3 infused sitting in the corner, it's personal taste, right? Like, it's preference. Because some of it might technically change the flavor of your other sticks, but not by some big noticeable amount.
And if you keep them wrapped.
And everything. I mean, yeah, you still shouldn't do it. But at the same time, when I had just my one humidor and I didn't have anything for overflow, I didn't have Tupper doors, what was I going to do? I'm like, I've got a couple Deadwood sticks. They're just going in the same humidor. And it's not like it didn't damage anything to me.
No, I've
But
seen people put them in Ziploc bags too, especially if they're the minority of your
I
collection.
did actually. So I do still have one fire cured that is just in a Ziploc bag with a Boveda. Now that I'm saying that, it's probably petrified and dry at this point. But
Check it.
I just the fire cured. There's that you can't keep with other sticks.
No,
then
that, like-
dude, you keep one fire cured in your humidor, and you've got a collection of fire cured sticks. It's not
Padron
good.
fire cure.
Oh my
You
god,
have,
that's disgusting. That would be terrible.
I'm actually excited to get back to that one because I've only had one in my whole life, and
Let's look and see what we have. Oh wait, don't we both have a fire cure?
Yeah,
Let's do
the
that one next.
KFC.
What it'll be our 31st
Yeah,
episode, which is
okay.
coming up. This is like our 27th, 28th.
yeah, 28th. Yeah, I think we're up
28th. So
there. Okay.
yeah, so
Because
3
it's one
episodes
that both is out of our comfort zone, and I'll be excited to see.
but
how
in a
we both-
high end stick,
Right.
it's gonna be weird. Mm-hmm. How's this opening up for you, Gare? It's
It's
just a stick, right?
It's-
Like
this-
it's not one you really even review and talk about, like because you said you don't think it's that infused. I don't. It's coffee infused, right? And I don't taste coffee heavily, but like I taste stuff
sweet
that's
chocolate.
not tobacco.
I'm actually going to try to retrohale on this as it opens up after like the first, or just to kind of see what I get. I would. I just want to see.
That was the first ash drop of the.
Oh, you know,
I was
I
just
can't
thinking-
keep nice things. You're gonna burn down the cabin.
Can you imagine?
But one of the things, like, it was really like a selling point that my wife was like, "Babe, it has a cedar cabin." She's like, "There's your cigar." Like, she's like, "That's where you'll smoke."
Right.
And I was like, "You can't tell me that." And then, like, 2
Not let
months
me
down
buy
the
the
road,
house,
like,
yeah.
you know, not that we bought it for this, but
No.
it just checked off so many boxes: land, the pool. The house is weird and funky, and so were we. There's a full bar in the basement. Like, it's just not practical, but it's all here. And like I said, we're going to do
And
like
then
cedar
just
culture,
build it.
booze pairings, and yeah. I would never have put this stuff here, but it's here.
No,
So we're
it
going
would
to
cost too much.
utilize
Like,
and
it'd
have,
be ridiculous.
utilize and
It's
have
here, and
fun
then
out of it.
you've got all the nuts and bolts, and then you'll make each individual piece of it yours over the next decade. Or
And I'm always a knick-knack guy, so now I have a place for my knickknacks.
You got shelves for
Yeah,
knickknacks,
I got
for
a
sure.
knickknack shelf, and you brought me, you know, you were kind enough to keep some of my cigar boxes as I was in the moving process. I'm excited to put them up around the shelves as well. But I know you jokingly asked how it's opening up. This reminds me of just being that young cigar smoker. It's not a... Again, I think this is great for someone just learning to taste flavors. Like, you know, learning to taste that. Like, wow, what is that? I am getting some coffee notes and, you know, just there's tobacco in there.
The thing is, I try, and I don't think I even taste coffee. Do you specifically taste coffee when you smoke this?
I taste like a sweet cream. Like, so when I first started my coffee journey, I was like crazy on the cream and the Splenda, and you know.
Are you drinking black coffee now?
If it's good coffee, I'll drink it black.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I like my my wife found this little sugar-free caramel splash. So sometimes I don't even need cream. It'll be black coffee with just a little splash of this caramel flavoring. Again, it kind of reminds me of this. But I think my brain wants to taste the tobacco because it knows it's there. But
You mean the coffee or?
both. Like I'm not getting like any specific flavor.
No,
I'm just
you don't
getting-
you're not getting hay out of this. Like the way you talk about,
no.
you know, with that tobacco smell sometimes.
But this is one where you can throw like, because a step below this in Drew Estate is the Isle de Sol, where it's short filler, coffee infused. I think that tip is ridiculously sweet. I don't think like I haven't had one in a while.
It's been a while. I'm trying to picture.
I think it's overly sweet. And
See,
then
in my mind, this is sweeter.
really?
In my
Oh,
memory.
okay.
But
Right.
again, it's been so long. I think I have one or
So
two.
taking you even a step before that, the first 2 boxes of cigars I ever bought in my life, my father-in-law gifted me a humidor for Christmas. God, probably a decade ago now. I never had a humidor. I was a casual cigar smoker with him, weddings, and then he let me try Drew Estate Legend, which was Cigar International's Drew
Forgot
Estate.
about that. That legend, the white legend, that to me tastes like this.
It does, but I think it's got more complexity, more spice to it.
Okay.
Like, I just think, like, that stick, I was like, I never have to smoke another cigar. I remember thinking that back
Right.
then, you know, 10 years ago.
Can you imagine?
I was like, it's
now,
got-
can you imagine if they said, Gary, if you ever want to have cigars again, that's the only cigar you have. You have to, like, you probably wouldn't smoke. You wouldn't smoke every
as
day.
much.
You wouldn't
No.
smoke every day.
Well, we always say that. Like, I love discovering a new stick, whether I like it or not. I like smoking new sticks. And that's just, I think that's just our personality. I think it's also our age range, you know. But yeah, I don't think I can only smoke the Drew Estate Legend as much as I love it, you know.
No.
And then they came out with the black version, which is
It's cool.
It is. It's really cool. But it reminds me of us being at the pool, in your pool, smoking, having. It was a great way to break up. Like we would have 5 sticks.
I was gonna say,
it was like a palate cleanser.
So
almost.
yeah, we meant and the tobacco's good for that too, right? We I mentioned how this is for me an ideal morning stick. It's also an ideal stick to have in the mix of a 4 cigar night.
I say 3rd or 4th, you know,
Yeah.
or bat and cleanup when you don't want something.
Absolutely.
Like, you know, when you don't want something heavy.
Yeah, you've had a half a bottle of bourbon. It's 11 o'clock at night. You're around the fire pit. You're not sure if you're going to make it through a whole stick.
Right.
This is dessert.
That's a great way to put it. And like I said, I attribute a lot of my curbing some of those dietary restrictions and nighttime cravings with I would have a late sweet stick. And, you know, that and a diet soda, it really helped kind of put the night
Gets
in
where you need to
perspective.
be.
Like, I don't have to raid the fridge. I can go out and do this for an hour, you know.
Nice. Dude, I don't think I've told you. This is so funny. If anybody that like listens to like every episode over the last 2
So, Blake?
and then this one, it's hysterical because I have another dating like update for you. And like so the
We need an alarm. Dating update.
So like to quickly recap, right? 2 episodes ago, I was falling in love with a girl. The next episode, I hated that girl, and now this episode, I'm like excited about somebody else again.
Hey, man.
although this time I've learned my lesson. I'm optimistic, but I'm not getting too excited too early this time. But what's interesting with this girl, just a couple quick stats, right? So she looks a lot like the last girl. She has a similar lifestyle where we're both like in the fitness and food and meal prep, but this girl's 4 years younger, and she takes the time to text me to say hi. So it's like it's and
You
it's
have such
oddly,
high standards, wanting a response.
I know. It's weird, right? Like this girl seemed, and we haven't even had our first date yet, but it's funny. Like as going into this first date, I'm like, wow. This girl is all the things I was excited about of that last girl before the first date, and none of the shitty things, like so far, right?
That's
like in
good.
this little couple days of texting. So it's really funny. So we'll have an update next. So what we're doing is we decided to do daytime date. We're gonna do a little restaurant that's right next to a park. That way we decided, because we both like to be active, so we decided that if lunch goes well, we'll have the park to go like do a walk and extend
That's
the date.
great, man.
And if we have like an extra, if the date's going well, we have an extra drink or 2. Then we have an hour to go walk around the park and walk it off, which is a lot of planning for a first date.
No, but I like that. I like that. I like that setup, especially knowing you two, because it not you two, the number 2.
Yeah.
You, knowing you. I always
I don't
thought
feel like wearing these.
I always thought movies was such a weird idea for a first date because you're spending
know,
2
I don't-
hours looking in the same direction.
That's a good point. I don't know anybody that's ever done that though. Like I think you only go on movie dates for first
7th
dates
grade.
in the movies.
7th grade, I saw. All right, it wasn't a
Yeah,
real date.
you were just trying to get a little tuggy tug under the popcorn you were holding.
7th grade, Ace Ventura, Pet Detective.
I'm just jealous you had a date in 7th grade. I think the first like girlfriend I had was like, or no, it was like 7th grade, but I don't think we ever had a
7th grade
date.
girlfriend.
I think what it was it was a girl that, so you know, this is funny. So, me and my friend, then his girlfriend and her friend, right, and he and her are gonna go meet up at the school after school, so like home, go back to school.
Yeah.
But, like, you don't want to tell your parents that's what you're doing, right? So he's like, I'm going to the school with Eric. And then she's like, you're right. Like, you loop your friend in to whatever. And so then, yeah, like, I think that, like, the other girl happened to be in my grade at the school. We just didn't talk to each other. We were both unpopular. And so I think we wound up becoming boyfriend and girlfriend that day for a few weeks.
Yeah.
That was, like, my first girlfriend.
But no, similar story. I love that the breeze blows the
smoke right out.
This is nice.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. The friend was with my friend, and then those kind of fizzled out. We kind of like stayed. I think we dated like all of 7th grade, maybe into 8th grade. It was like long term.
Holy crap. I remember in that few weeks that I dated her, Valentine's Day happened. And,
that's always tough because you're like,
dude, I mean, it's funny. My mom took me to Kmart and bought like a little teddy bear, and
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's 7th grade, sixth
awesome.
or seventh grade, I think it was 7th or 8th grade. Yeah. So, real quick though, so what's funny is planning that date with that girl for Saturday. The what's cool is we interact well so far, right? So I'm like, what do you want to do, daytime, nighttime? She says daytime. I'm like, okay, let's blah blah blah. She's like, all right, and I was like, well, I'll drive to you, and she's like, all right, well, here's 2 options. They're pretty similar. One's right next to the park, one's not. And I was like, oh, well, I looked at their menus. I was like, hey, the menus are the same, like similar. Let's do the one by the park. That way we can walk afterwards if we have too much to drink. And she's like, well, I love the way you think. Like, and then we start.
That means have enough to drink and then go walk around.
Walk around, yeah. And then, just through joking or whatever. So like, I count macros for my diet, and I use this app. And it just so happens she does CrossFit. She uses the app that I used to work for at her CrossFit gym.
No way.
Yeah, and she knows that she does weightlifting and stuff. And she's like, yeah, I've been thinking about doing macros. And I was sending her some screenshots from my app. And she's like, all right, you convinced me. Like, I'm going to start doing it now. And I was like, wow. Like, let's say our first date goes well. This will be the most, quote, boring first month of 2 people dating. They're like counting macros. And like, I'm like, date 4, meal prep. And she was like, but she when I said date 4 is meal prep, she was like, ha ha ha, like, we're crazy, I love it, or something like that.
But you know what I like about that? That's real life. Like, the excitement of dating wears off. I mean, but it's exciting. But real life is me pulling posts out of the ground while my wife's like, I'm going to start dinner, and she's doing.
Now, don't get me wrong. I'm really not putting the cart before the horse here. Just that it's cool when you get to meet somebody new that you're like, okay, well, I don't know if Saturday's date's going to go well or not. But I know enough.
You're in a better mindset.
Well, I know enough to know that, like, if it doesn't go well in terms of us, like, hitting it off, like, we're gonna have a good time.
Yeah. Like, maybe it's just a good friend. Like, maybe
we're 2 similarly minded people. We're gonna go grab a meal and a drink and take a walk. Like, we're gonna have a good time.
Yeah. The thing that concerned me about the last one, and I don't want to beat a dead horse, is you were like, I'm gonna break that wall down. Like, it was almost like.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I know you're a very driven person, and I was like, you're gonna spend all that time.
Yeah.
And it's not going, like, when the risk reward there, like,
no, you're
is
right.
concerning.
It's funny. Like,
I'd rather someone who's like, no, I enjoy, what's her stance on cigars?
I didn't ask.
Only coffee infused?
I didn't ask, but I actually have a picture of me, like, with a cigar as one of my dating profile pictures on purpose, just to, like, if
in case smoking's a turnoff.
Well, if I match with somebody, like, that way I know if I match with them, it's like vetted. And actually, so I didn't even ask her.
And you look cool with a cigar.
But then yesterday, my friend came over for a cigar, and I happened to mention it to her, and she was just like, "Oh, that sounds like fun." So.
Oh, good. Good.
The real test would be if I had a cigar and then we made out, and then she was like, "Fuck this," But
I will tell you, there are nights where I come in and it's in my beard, and like my wife's like, "Are you sure you brushed?" Like, I'm like,
dude,
yeah.
I will finish a cigar. And then when I take a shower, I make sure scrub my beard well. I brush my teeth. Like after a stick, I don't do it all the time, but I'm more likely to floss when I brush my teeth then, and then mouthwash and everything. And then I still smell smoke in my own beard. So if I'm smelling it in my own beard, it's pretty strong, which is, I gotta say, I don't love that about cigars.
And the hand I hold the cigar in, I can smell it for the next day.
Yeah.
Between these 2 fingers, I'm like, whoa. There's gonna be a permanent staining. It's gonna be a permanent scent.
I know. I'm a little. I know. I mean, it just is what it is, right, with cigars. But that, especially being somebody that's dating, that's definitely on my mind. Where I'm like, fuck.
And your car too. It's gonna be in your clothes. When I would drive home from your house after we recorded.
Yeah.
Even though I didn't smoke in my truck, I'm like, dude, the truck smells like a cigar.
Really?
So drive with your windows open.
I'm actually curious now. I'm kind of curious, when I drive home, because I don't know if I've driven after a cigar in a long time. I can't even think
Maybe
about
from
it.
the shop the few times.
Yeah, but now I'm curious. So I'm gonna keep an eye on that next time I get in my car.
I like this. I do.
Dude, you've got built-in armrests.
We got a little cigar smokehouse here, man. Smoke shack. I like it. We'll get some decor going on here, and this will be fun. We can do I'm just excited
Where's the
for
pole
winter.
Gonna
go? It's got to be rated for me, so.
You're not. I'm not tipping you. You're not getting.
If I get on a pole, I deserve it. I deserve a big time tip.
The shed will tip.
The shed deserves a tip.
The shed deserves a tip. Yeah.
This was not designed for a stripper pole, nor a 300-pound man stripper pole.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
So no, I mean, this reminds me of like youthful smoking. That's what like I taste. Like I taste the memories of earlier cigars.
I wonder, like, I feel like in most episodes, I don't know if it's us finding a reason or if it's real or not, but we kind of tend to say, like, oh, this is a perfect stick for today, and here's why. And I was about to say for this, I'm like, it's light, it's airy, we're in the first like couple weeks of spring, and this is a beautiful day. I'm like, this stick matches, and I'm like, we say that all the time. So maybe it's just that cigars and good times go together.
I was gonna say a cigar.
Cigars in any
moment.
moments.
A cigar is that moment in time.
Yeah.
And it gets you like something about lighting a stick, talking with a friend.
Is that front door to this smoke shack? Is that one of those split doors?
It's a half door, and I
don't know why I love half doors. I don't even understand the purpose of them.
I don't understand the purpose of it either, but I put a little hook and eyelet on it, and what I like is on nice nights, I can still have the fire pit going, and that half door opens.
Oh yeah, because you can't use a fire pit in here closed.
I wouldn't closed, but yeah, open it, and it heats up so quick because it's wood, like everything's wood. But I got a nice little propane. But we're gonna run electric out here. We'll have to show everyone. There's like extension cords and this and that for the lighting and everything. But I'm excited to like maybe even get a little heater that plug in. But the fire pit works nice too for some ambiance at night. I get to find some cool old cigar themey stuff and put it up. So I'm excited.
Your little
corner to call my own because at the old house there, my wife was like, "Do you really have to have the bar glasses that you stole in college displayed?" I was like, "Yeah."
Dude, it's so funny because I still have like sitting. I mean, it's not out, but it's like it's within reach in my kitchen in like the corner of the counter somewhere. 4 coasters that I took back in 2002 or 2003 from 2003 from Hooters of Honolulu.
Oh.
But they're cardboard coasters.
Wow.
Like, so I've never used them. I can't use them. But I'm like, I don't know. Like, that marks a time.
You may have to donate one to the Cedar Shack.
That might be cool. That might be cool. I think I have a few of them. That would be a good little addition. Like that's
it marks a moment in time.
Because we would go when I was stationed in Hawaii. Monday Night Football would be on at like 6 p.m. or something like that, or whatever the heck it was, and so or like earlier, and so we would kind of get done work on a Monday and not all the time, but sometimes jet down to Hooters and watch Monday Night Football and drink a couple pitchers.
Did they have anything weird on the Hooters menu in Hawaii, like pineapple something? Like, 'cause you know how there's always like exclusive like
stuff? I don't recall. I don't think they did, but a couple things on that note that are funny. They did have both at 7-Eleven, kind of like in the hot dog counter.
Mm-hmm.
There they had rice and Spam done as like sushi almost, so it's like a block of rice with Spam on it, like a little seaweed wrapper.
Spam's huge there.
Yeah, and so huge in fact that it was on the menu for breakfast at McDonald's. So it was Spam, rice, eggs, something like that. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know if it still is 20 years later, but
wow.
So that's
interesting. Regional cuisines, even in fast food.
I thought that was really because then now, mind you, when I'm seeing this, I'm like 19 for the first time, like when I first got stationed there. So yeah, like it blew my mind. Like coming from somebody who never really left South Jersey very much.
So in my head, I'm like, all right, McDonald's, Hawaii. I would think instead of Canadian bacon on the Egg McMuffin, it would have just been Spam. But you're saying they had like a whole dedicated, It was
definitely a whole separate platter. It's possible, like that's the one thing that I remember. It's definitely possible. Maybe they also had that, but yeah, it was like the convenience store and the McDonald's. I remember very specifically had Spam, like Spam.
Were you a Spam guy when you were there?
I never even tried it.
When you even?
Yeah.
Why is it so popular? Is meat hard to get? So it's just canned meat's just easier to preserve?
That's a good guess. That would probably be my guess too. Yeah.
Like just because it's an island and like
also
beef and
I don't know when Spam got popular. My guess is somewhere around World War II, and Hawaii wasn't doing great in World War II. Right. So yeah, like maybe it became really part of the culture because they were impoverished.
Is it sad that my knowledge of Hawaii is like honestly from like 50 First Dates and like the movie?
I've never seen that.
Never seen 50 First Dates?
Does it take place in Hawaii?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's a Sandler.
So my experiences in Hawaii. All right, so I was stationed there for 2 years. I remember shortly, or it was either in that time, shortly before that time, because we're talking early 2000s. It was one of those movies. Maybe it was Paul Walker or somebody in it, and like there was a whole thing where like there was between the locals and the non-locals. The locals were like you flew here, we grew here. Like they're very territorial in Hawaii.
Yeah.
Did you know that? Like they hate us, like mainland Americans.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
To the point where like
I hate us.
Like no, I mean to the point where like it happened to me and a group of people, and happened to several other groups that I know. Like you're walking downtown, and you just get jumped by locals. Yeah, like and like so like for us it was weird because they were like they were like high school or college. I don't even like or like young college, and we're just walking down Honolulu, and then like you have to keep your eyes out because you know it can happen, right? And there's a group of us. There's like 6 or 7 of us. I have no idea why they even picked us. It was a bad target for them to pick.
Yeah.
But once somebody noticed, and said to the rest of the group, they were like, "Hey, that group across the street, they've been following us for the last couple blocks. Like you could just tell, like they're kind of pacing us and staring across the street. So like keep your eyes out." So we did. And then, at some point, I think to get where we were going, we had to cross. And so, like, we crossed, and then at this point, they fell back, and they're kind of behind us a little bit.
Wow.
And we kind of knew they were following us, and then all of a sudden, they were really close to us, and, like, they just started, they had, like, fucking things, like an umbrella. They started swinging, and, like, books or something. They just started, like, chucking at us. It just so happens that, like, of the 6 or 7 of us, like, 2 of the guys were in recon, and, like, it was the fastest thing I've ever seen.
Right, it's like fighting an MMA fighter.
They turned around and like 3 of the kids were on the ground and like blood's everywhere. I'm like, this is fucking insane. So we didn't know what to do. We all ran after that, and then after we run, we were like, well, what are we supposed to do? So like we kind of just went back out to the streets. The cops came, put us all against the wall, and the cops were like, now this is a cop, right? And we're like, I think adults, and the cops there say something to the effect of, "Oh, you think you could just come to our island and start attacking the locals?" We're like, we're fucked. Like we are fucked at this point. And luckily, there was like a truck driver there who stopped, and he was like, to the cop, he's like, "I saw the whole thing." He's like, they were attacked, and the cop was like, for some reason, the cop just took his word and was like, "All right, you guys can go." And then the cop goes, "Where's your car?" And we told him where it was parked. He's like, "Be careful, they're waiting for you on the way, I would guess." And they just told us to go.
So it's going to happen again.
but we just went back to our car and went home.
Are there white natives? Like, are there people that like have been there for so many generations?
Yeah.
So how do you tell a mainland...
Haircut. We're all in the Marines.
But they know there's a Marine base, like, so,
Yeah, but they don't like that there's a Marine base. And I get it. Like,
oh, yeah.
So, I mean, the weird thing is, right, like, it's definitely something that's crossed my mind a lot in general. Like, we have military bases all around the world. That makes us an occupying force. Right. Like, they don't all want it. Like, we have bases in Germany because that was like part of the deal when they surrendered to World War II. Not because they were like, yeah, come on in. Right. We want other countries' military bases. How many military bases do we have in our soil for other countries? None that I know of.
Right,
that's weird.
No, it's a really good point. And a lot of places, like, they were like, we will force democracy down here at the road. Like, they lived with whatever. Now,
I used to be, and I don't know what the truth is, but the thing is, I mean, if we didn't wind up, like, occupying and, like, incorporating Hawaii, I mean, that's what Japan was trying to do, too, right? So, like, I would think that they're in a better spot, but they don't care about that, and that's not what they're taught either. Like, they're taught to hate us. And so,
wow.
The interesting thing is, take Guam. I was at Guam a couple times for like a month each, doing some training exercises. Similar situation, Pacific Island, relatively like impoverished. Guam is far more impoverished. Like they have, I think, like no exports.
Right.
Hawaii at least has some exports and stuff. But and so they're a U.S. territory. We didn't make them a state. But they kind of could, in a way, like have similar angst against us that Hawaiians do. Or at least some Hawaiians. I don't want to speak for the whole state, but they don't. They love us,
right?
In Guam, like love us in Guam.
I was gonna say there's some that have to celebrate the fact that if it weren't for the presence
of
the
Guam.
United States,
and
right?
That's what Guam is. But again, probably because they have like no exports. Now, I would still think Hawaii would probably not do well as a country on its own. I have no idea though. There's a lot of other Pacific Islands that do fine, I suppose, as countries. So maybe they would. I have no idea. But it was just for me. I'm like, I'm just stationed here.
Yeah, you didn't like. I went where they told me the paper told me to go. Like,
dude, when I got out of boot camp, you get to pick. You get 3 choices of where you get stationed. Not pick. You get to like request. At the time, I was dating a girl back home. The 3 duty stations that I picked were I forget specifically, but they ranged from like Virginia to South Carolina.
Right.
And I got Hawaii. I was a few thousand miles off.
But I mean, what a cool, like, in retrospect. Like,
Yeah.
Cool to be like, hey, I spent, some of your formative years.
I get to say I never want to go back.
Wow.
Instead of saying I want to go one day. That's an expensive trip.
Yeah. My grandfather gifted us our honeymoon using his, like, timeshare. Mm-hmm. And it's based out of Hawaii. So he was like, you can do Hawaii, or you can do, like, we ended up choosing Mexico just because the resort, like, that we were able to get.
It's all inclusive and maybe, but
it's killer. Yeah. I don't know that I want to leave the States, to be honest. Or not pandemic aside, just like
I'm not
the way
a big.
things were.
So I'm not big on international travel personally. So like mostly because of me and myself. Like I feel like my anxiety and stuff. Like and I've been to Japan, but I didn't leave base much because I just feel like I'd be lost in this like sea and
Yeah.
I don't know. I get my anxiety picks up, but at the same time, like I did London, awesome. Ireland, awesome. Like they just speak English. I'm comfortable, and I feel like weird even saying that. Like it's not like it's not. I don't have anything against other countries that don't speak English.
I get
me.
that
Like I don't feel comfortable because I don't speak the language and.
I don't know why. Like my anxiety doesn't work that way. Like we were told like don't leave the resort and stuff, and I was like we gotta go. Like I want to walk around the open market and I want to go take a swim in the Sea of Cortez. Like I'm never gonna be here again. I knew that. Like
I'm a resort guy. When I go, I don't leave the resort.
Yeah. I mean, I would say 95% of the time we were poolside and drinking our faces off and eating ridiculously fresh tacos and great Americanized, bastardized versions of their, amazing cuisine. But one of the I wish I took a picture of it. The deli on the way into Mexico, like, had the New York Yankees symbol, and it's a New York deli. And I was like, we got to take a picture of that. I don't think I ever did.
It is funny.
Like they utilize like Americans so popular.
Well,
like,
dude, now, and I'm sure it was like this even 10 years ago or so when you were there. But last couple times I went to Mexico or like Cancun area. It's a good like 20-30 minute cab ride or shuttle ride from the airport to the resort. And yeah, you're passing like Pizza Hut, 7-Eleven, Starbucks, McDonald's. Like you're like, all right, if I ever did get lost around, if I ever got lost around here, I could at least feed myself. I know how to order a number 3 off the menu.
Right? I forget what comedian, but he was talking about being in Ireland, and he's like, there was a Subway sandwich restaurant, and he's like, that was like the American hub for me. Like he's like when I needed like to feel a little bit more, dude, come on, party foul.
You know what it is? I don't have an ashtray over there.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. And so, but yeah, when I try to, it's just how it works.
Here's the great news: we're in a cigar shed. Yeah. We're just gonna literally sweep it out. So no worries.
When I would go, so like I'd been to Portugal 10 or 12 times for work, and when I would go, there was a Pizza Hut on the corner, and that would be one of the places. Like there wound up being a few places that I knew that I would go, and Pizza Hut was one of them. But then I found this other local pizza place that was just way better, and
well, yeah,
because there, what country is it? I don't know if it's all of Europe or specific countries in Europe, but the most popular pizza topping is egg. Like hard-boiled egg. Or just crack an egg on it and cook it. And they did that a lot in Portugal, and they actually had hard-boiled egg on pizza at Pizza Hut in Portugal.
That's cool. I've had breakfast pizza, but not like it's really just dedicated bacon on the bread.
Yeah,
on the dough.
That was kind of interesting. But then I found some local shops that like, kind of like it's getting popular or is popular here now. The smaller brick ovens, like almost personal thin, whatever, and that's you find some good ones with like some fresh figs and prosciutto and stuff like that. In Portugal, awesome. That's where I found like the part that I did like, of going over there a lot is the food is a bit fresher. Now I will say the milk is disgusting. So
overseas in general,
I think the only place I really had milk was Portugal because I was at one time I was there for like over a week, like through a weekend, and I had like a weekend to kill, and I went down to the gas station. I bought some Oreos and milk because I wanted some Oreos and milk, and a little taste of home or whatever. But the milk is in a cardboard carton sitting on the warm shelf, like it's not like it is here, and I got it back to the apartment, and it tasted sour as hell. And so I Googled, and that's just normal. That's just like, I guess, how milk tastes before in America. We like pasteurize all the flavor out of it and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do remember liking the milk in Mexico, and I remember asking, I was like, "What kind of milk is this? Like 2% whole?" He was like, "It's milk." Like
Yeah.
they you know,
I
could've
guess
been goat
it's-
milk. I don't know.
Whatever yeah, I don't know. My guess is whatever they're using, it's for an American palate, though.
Yeah, it was at the
Like it
resort
might be the same as what they use in like traditional Mexico, or maybe it's not. Maybe it's just Americanized, and maybe they use more European style milk in the rest of Mexico. I have no idea.
Because I think we're the only country that refrigerates eggs too. Like everything else, eggs are on the counter. Like warm, like you said, this is room temperature, like butter,
Yeah.
all that stuff. Like they don't. Like in England, they don't.
I even know some people in the U.S. They're like, "What, you put your butter in the fridge?" Because like, I guess you don't have to. I don't know. It just feels normal. It feels right. I don't know.
We'll do it like occasionally. If we're like cooking out or something, and like this is the dedicated like corn butter, and you kind of want.
Oh yeah, no,
anyway.
you leave it out for a day or for a barbecue or something.
Like, forever.
But, yeah.
So I retrohaled a little bit on this guy, and I do get that like sweet tobacco. Like I can taste the natural tobacco more in the retrohale.
I can see. I just did it, and I can see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Once you do it, in the retro, like you know what it is, because.
It's weird retrohaling to get tobacco flavor.
Well, it's not, because I think what it is because the cigar itself isn't like super sweet infused, but it's got that sweet tip. So like on the retrohale, you're
just
like,
getting those.
You're just getting the tobacco and not still like as much as the lips and the sugar on your lips and stuff. Because even now, once about halfway through, it's like way less sweet and stuff, which is good.
Your saliva breaks down.
Tastes more like a cigar.
I wonder how they sweeten it. Like, how do they sweeten a tip? It's just got to be some like corn syrup or whatever, and just.
I think that's all it is. Yeah, it's probably very close to the same substance that they use as the glue.
Right.
They probably just put a little more sugar in it or something. It's a good question.
Cool. And what I like about these is, like, so we're smoking the Dulce, which is just like this shade Connecticut wrapper, you know. Mm-hmm. But they have the Negro, which is like a more Maduro.
Oh, you know what? I had one of those. So I have 2 more Tabaks at home. Mm-hmm. One of them is a Negro.
I remember liking them more. But then they have specialities. Like I know Cigar Nationals carries a Cafe Con Leche, which is both wrappers. It's half Negra, half Connecticut.
Do they still have that, or?
I think they still make it.
We should look to that if we decide to get some together or something like that.
And
that
then they have a
try,
red eye.
I haven't had that.
You haven't had that? And they have a red eye, which is a Maduro wrapper. It's a darker wrapper, but it's 3 times the Ligero leaf in there. So like it's almost like an espresso, like like coffee has different strengths. So they wanted it to be a power shot. I don't know that I've ever had the red eye. I think that would be a fun thing for us both to try.
I've had a brown eye or so.
So red eye.
so red eye it is.
I have nothing to go from there.
Nice.
That would be a great stick to come out with the brown eye.
Oh my god. I mean, I'm trying to think what would the characteristics of the stick be. I can't.
Piece of shit.
Yeah, I know exactly. Like I can't really think of a way to sell the brown eye in a stick. You know what I mean? Like this is a really good cigar. So we named it after a turd cutter. Forget about that part. It's like what we all do. Like, oh, this tastes like shit. Try it. Like that's.
All right.
That could be just the name of the stick. This tastes like shit. Try it.
It's true though. Why do we always if something smells terrible, like we need to share that experience? I'm like, ow, smell it with my wife. I'm like, smell this. Smells disgusting. I believe you. Why do you need me to smell?
Some sociologist or whatever would be able to, or not sociologist, but not sociologist, but somebody that studies humans, behaviors, whatever, would probably be able to be like, oh, it's because back in 900 BC.
It's probably how we kept the herd alive. Like, do this. Stay away from this smell.
Something. I wonder if there's something evolutionary.
Remember being a kid and someone showed you that you put your tongue on a 9-volt battery, you complete the circuit. And you're like, it hurt. And then you're like, oh, you knew it hurt him. Or like, my buddy bought a stun gun in college. And we
all did that.
Oh, right. So that hurt. But like,
dude, there's people running around when I was in the Marines, like in the barracks with fucking stun guns, bastards. That was fun. I mean, because that's like in the Marine barracks, that's that's like that, like the boy college mentality,
Mm-hmm.
but with 300 of them in a room or in a building or however many. It's definitely, like, it gets weird.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say it's like a fraternity on steroids. Like
And it gets weird.
But I felt that way. Like I wasn't in a fraternity in college, but I was on the track team, which is
Right.
like better or worse, I guess. You're part of something bigger than you.
Probably
like,
bethink it's because you don't have the dues.
I didn't have to pledge.
You
or
don't have to
do
pay the
anything,
dues.
yeah.
Like somebody was telling me that, like, I didn't have the traditional college experience, but I think it was a girl saying the sorority dues are like several thousand a year or something like that. Do you know? Like from
I don't. I was never a fraternity guy. Like I keep in touch with my track mates.
that's insane though. Why are college kids paying thousands of dollars to be in a fraternity? In addition, yeah. That's weird.
Oddly enough, one of the guys I went to college with, he was a hammer thrower. He saw one of my posts on Facebook that I was like, "Hey, I'm in Newfield." He's like, "Dude, I'm 10 minutes down the road." He's like, "We gotta like hang out."
Really?
Yeah. Like so a guy.
I didn't even know this town existed till you moved here.
Yeah, we didn't know it existed either.
What county are you in?
This is Gloucester County.
Is it really?
Yeah.
I thought it was more south than that.
Right. Like
You're
you
probably on
almost
the
think it's
corner.
like Salem County. but it's
Yeah,
not.
or whatever counties are outside of. Because I know 3 counties in Jersey, so outside of Burlington, Camden, and Gloucester.
Right. Salem's one of them. But
Salem's,
we're like
I
on
know
the
it's
border.
down there.
We're
There's
not
a Cumberland down there
Cumberland,
somewhere. Cape
But
May, really far down there.
It is weird because like I went from a development with like neighbors, like good friends, neighbors, to literally it's like we're out here.
How are your kids settling in?
They were really excited because they'll start the new school Monday. So, and this will be the last weekend, and they're excited.
Oh my
they love
God.
it. Like, just
Look
for
at me. I'm
You are
just
fucking
covered in
mess.
ash. Are you ashing a lot? Maybe, like, I feel like the ash, because it's just not staying on
It's not staying
long
on
at
for you?
all. Holy crap.
It's not long ashes, but we are staying smoky.
I'm staying ashy.
Stay ashy.
Long smokes and stay ashy.
That would be a funny shirt.
Long smokes and stay ashy.
That could be
long
for our
smokes.
shea butter collection.
Shea butter.
Don't be ashy.
Don't be ashy. Less ashy. Oh man, well this was fun, dude.
Yeah, man, I really liked revisiting. This is it's something we should definitely do more of, like revisit those sticks that we smoked like early on.
We
Do a
should do
legend
that.
day, yeah.
And then don't forget, sometime this summer we've got that other special stick.
Holy smokes!
that-
I showed
that-
my friend because I brought my sticks over. I showed Brian. He was over. He was like, "What are you gonna do with that thing?" I was like,
Bend over, buddy.
"I'll show
That's
you."
this one's called the brown eye.
That's the brown eye. It's
It's
just
this massive.
It's called the third leg.
9-inch ring gauge cigar.
Crazy.
Dude, let's go play in your yard while we still have some sun.
That sounds good. No, but this was a fun trip down cigar memory lane, and I like having a couple flavored sticks like this for guests
to
who
have 'em.
aren't cigar guys.
Yeah.
you can enjoy this without being bougie or whatever. Just an enjoyable stick.
For sure. And because it is so light too, I feel like it's not like you know how we talked before. It's tough for us, at least, to kind of do other things while you smoke. Smoke's getting in your eyes and your this, that, whatever. This is a good casual stick. Like I feel like we can go walk around your yard and smoke this and this. And
No,
like,
it could. This would be a good.
It
even,
won't go out. It'll just.
No,
Yeah.
and this would be good to like mow the lawn too. Whatever, or take the dog on the
Well,
walk.
I want to go play in your yard. I'm not going to mow your lawn for you. But
It needs it.
on that note, it's definitely time to go. Long ashes, everybody.
Stay smoky.
Thanks for checking out the Cedar Culture Podcast. If you'd like that episode, go ahead, tap, like, follow, subscribe, whatever it is on your platform of choice. And if you are on YouTube, hit that bell as well to be notified of new episodes. It really helps us out. We appreciate it.
And then don't forget to head over to Instagram and Facebook and follow us as well.
Do it.
Do it.